Human beings have always been a bit obsessed with time. We look at old photos and wear vintage clothes because we are fascinated by the past. We watch movies about space and aliens because we are excited about the future. It seems like we spend more time thinking about yesterday or tomorrow than we do about right now. This deep curiosity is exactly what led to the birth of time travel as a concept. We often wonder what it would be like to walk through the streets of ancient Rome or to fly a car in the year 3000. This Winkist summary explores where these ideas came from and how they change the way we see the world. Surprisingly, the idea of traveling through time is quite new. It is only about 130 years old. Before the late 1800s, people did not really think about traveling to another time. They saw time as a one-way street. You could only go forward, and you could only move at one speed. This changed in 1895 when a writer named H.G. Wells published a book called The Time Machine. In this story, he described time as something you could sail through, like an ocean. He imagined a vehicle that could move back and forth through the years. This was a revolutionary idea that captured everyone's imagination. The reason Wells' book was such a big hit had a lot to do with the world at that time. It was the end of the 19th century, and things were changing very fast. New inventions like electricity and cars were appearing. For the first time in history, children were living lives that looked completely different from the lives of their parents. People began to realize that the future would not just be like the present. They saw that the world was moving towards something new. Before this, people usually thought the future was just meant to be or decided by fate. Wells gave people a way to imagine a future that they could actually visit and explore. As the idea of time travel became popular, people started asking difficult questions. If you go back in time, can you meet your younger self? If you change something in the past, does it change who you are today? Writers and thinkers had to come up with rules to make these stories make sense. They decided that if you travel through time very quickly, you might not touch anything, so you wouldn't accidentally break history. They also decided that every version of you is a different person. For example, the you from 5 years ago is a separate entity from the you today. This helped solve the confusion of meeting yourself in a story. These stories also made people think about free will. If you go to the future and see what happens, does that mean your life is already written like a script? Does it mean you can't change your own destiny? Some people worried that if we could go back and fix every mistake, we would never learn anything. Effort and hard work might not matter if you could just redo a test or a conversation until it was perfect. These questions moved from fiction books into the world of serious science and philosophy. Science eventually caught up with these wild dreams. A famous scientist named Albert Einstein changed everything with his theories. He showed that time is not the same for everyone. He discovered that the faster you move through space, the slower time moves for you. This means that a person on a very fast rocket would age slower than a person standing on Earth. While we cannot build a machine to go back to the days of dinosaurs yet, Einstein proved that time is flexible, it is relative. This scientific breakthrough made the idea of time travel feel much more real to the public. Following Einstein's ideas, other scientists began talking about multiverses. This is the idea that there are many different universes existing at the same time. In one universe, you might have chosen to eat an apple, and in another, you chose a cookie. Every choice creates a new path. This links closely to how our own memories work. Every time we remember something, we change the story a little bit in our heads. By changing how we remember the past, we are, in a small way, changing our own history. This is a form of mental time travel that we all do every single day. However, time travel is full of paradoxes, which are logical puzzles that are hard to solve. The most famous one is the grandfather paradox. If you went back in time and stopped your grandfather from meeting your grandmother, you would never be born. But if you were never born, you couldn't have gone back in time to stop them. It makes your head spin. There is also the butterfly effect. This theory says that even a tiny change in the past, like a butterfly flapping its wings, could cause a giant storm on the other side of the world years later. If you changed one small thing in history, the entire world today might look completely different. Because of these problems, some scientists, like Stephen Hawking, were skeptical about traveling to the past. Hawking famously said that if time travel were possible, we would probably see tourists from the future walking around our streets today. Since we don't see them, he thought it might be impossible. Yet, other brilliant minds found math that suggests time loops could exist in space. They imagined curves in time that allow you to circle back to where you started. Even if we can't do it physically, the math says it might be possible somewhere in the universe. In many ways, we are already time travelers. We travel through time whenever we open a book. When you read words written by someone 100 years ago, you're visiting their mind and their world. You are seeing the past through their eyes. The author was also thinking about you, the future reader, when they wrote those words. This connection across years is a real form of journeying through time. Our memory also allows us to revisit our childhoods or think about our old friends whenever we want. We are constantly moving our minds between what was and what will be. Today, the internet has given us even more ways to travel through time. Think about social media. You can scroll back through years of your life in just a few seconds. You can delete an old post or change a photo, which feels like editing your own history. You can see videos of people who are no longer with us, keeping their voices alive forever in a digital world. The internet moves so fast that communication is almost instant, blurring the lines between now and then. We can store our lives online, creating a digital version of ourselves that might last for a very long time. It is interesting to see how our goals for time travel have changed. In the beginning, people mostly wanted to see the future. They were excited about new technology and progress. But today, many of us want to go back to the past. We love retro things, and we make many movies about the good old days. We seem to be looking for a simpler time because the modern world moves so quickly. Whether we are looking forward or looking back, the idea of time travel helps us understand who we are. It shows us that we are not just stuck in the present moment. We are part of a long, beautiful story that stretches across all of time.